Dangerous adult games! I walked into a small boutique just before closing time. It wasn't so different from the boutiques I had visited once a year for the past 25 years. Every year, I was sure to stop by such a store to pick out something for my wife, something attractive that was as much a gift to me as it was to her. She really enjoyed seeing what I picked out, and I always enjoyed seeing her turn her underwear up on a very hot night. As the years went by, I got older and surprisingly felt a little less comfortable shopping next to the younger women who frequented these establishments. It seemed that I would see 20-something-year-olds picking out lewd or other lingerie and immediately present it on their bodies, leaving me with a hard-on and the inevitable comment about being a horny old fart or a pervert. Well, maybe they never said that, but their looks and giggles always left me with that impression. As a result, I tried to limit my time in such boutiques. Tonight it seemed I was lucky. The only people in the store besides me were a saleswoman, who looked to be in her 30s or so, and a middle-aged blonde who was browsing the racks. The salesgirl came over as I started looking through one of the racks that had fragile little teddy bears on it. I really wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to get her this year. Super sexy, a little more modest, or even downright slutty lingerie. I hesitated until I found that perfect little something. "Can I help you find something?" the saleswoman asked. "Actually, I'm not sure what. I'm looking for an anniversary gift for my wife." "Oh, well, what kind of lingerie does she like?" Well, all kinds, actually. We've been doing this for quite a few years now, and finding something original is becoming a challenge." "Oh, that's nice. It's kind of a tradition, isn't it? How many years?" 25 this year. Let's see if we can find something really special then." She motioned, pointing a finger over my shoulder for me to follow her. I made my way around the racks in the back of the small store, following a rather sensual young woman, the short, tight dress she was wearing barely covering her ass. By the time we got to the back of the store, I was seriously horny. "I think we should take a look at that. What size is your wife?" "Well, actually, I'm not sure. She's been working hard for the last year to lose weight and has done a great job. She used to be a size 14, but now she's lost some weight." "Okay, how about bust size?" "I know that. She's a 38DD. I checked out one of her bras." "Well, that's certainly one way to do it." "So, let's get a little more specific about her waist size. Is she as skinny as I am?" she asked, turning to look at me. "Not as skinny. A little more like, well, like that blonde girl over there. She looks about the same as my wife," I said in a whisper, trying not to draw attention to the fact that I was looking at the blonde walking down the aisle. The salesgirl turned and looked. "Oh, sure. I'd say she's got about 10. That's pretty good. I bet she's really proud of herself for losing so much weight. Let's see if we can find something that really emphasizes those curves." She smiled at me as she went around the counter on the other side, took a couple things off the rack and came over again, hung a little black lace thing on the end of the rack, and showed me a very sexy little red piece that was a combination of lace and ties. "What do you think of it?" It seemed like it would really show off her curves. I watched as she pressed it against her body and smoothed the translucent lace around her body with her free hand. The red lace stretched from her neck down, not quite to the hem of her dress, already so short that I could see the little peaks of her pink lace panties. She removed the little lace garment and unfolded it to show me her back. And she would be completely naked in the back, just those little satin straps. "Can you just picture her in that?" she smiled. "Actually, I'm having a hard time not picturing her right now," I muttered as she looked at the lacy outfit again, pressing it against her body. With another smile, she put that outfit aside and reached for the black one. It was a sexy little outfit that could be worn with or without panties. She held up the outfit, which looked like an intertwined spiral of sheer lace and black silk strips, about 4 or 5 inches wide. As she pressed it against her body, it was obvious that it would only cover a piece a little above her breasts and wrap around her body, leaving one breast covered and the other open through the sheer part, and then wrap around, ending just below the juncture of her legs. Do you think this is something your wife would enjoy wearing? It is certainly a teasing outfit. She ran her hands up and down the soft fabric and her body at the same time. And it's all silk, sensuously soft and smooth. One of my favorites. I'm almost tempted to put it on for you, just to feel it on you, she grinned. I won't stop you, I said, unable to help but think about how it would look on her. Oh, I really can't. I have an agreement with my boyfriend. He knows how much I love sexy lingerie. I can wear whatever I want, but I'm only allowed to pose for him. I see. I nodded. Not that I hadn't thought about showing off a little something every now and then. She grinned, her eyes sliding down to the rather large bulge in my pants. I, on the other hand, have no such restrictions, said the blonde, who had unobtrusively moved directly across the counter from us. I'm pretty sure you could talk me into demonstrating one or even both of them for you, just to see how you think it would look good on your wife, of course. Would you be tempted by that? Well, I'd like something in return. But if you don't mind, I'm quite sure I won't mind. She replied with a wide smile, walked around the rack, picked up the red lace outfit, and pressed it against her body. Do I look anything like your wife in terms of shape? Actually, a little bit you do, I answered, looking upside down at the tight sundress she was wearing. A bright yellow dress held up at the shoulders by two small ties and tight around the waist by a wide yellow sash. The top of the dress was adorned with ruffles and hung down over her breasts, which I was pretty sure were loose in the thin dress. Well, it should be an easy choice then. I'll present both if you do me two very small favors in return. That depends. Well, I'm trying to find just the perfect outfit for my husband. You have to let me show it off and give me your honest opinion on whether you think he'd like it. That's perfectly acceptable. And the second favor? She smirked in what I could almost call a devilish smile. You must demonstrate something for me as well. My mouth opened and closed silently several times as my mind tried to digest that statement and finally blurted out, I'd love to, but it's all lingerie. Well, we actually have a small selection of men's stuff, the salesgirl intervened. Some really hot mesh briefs, thongs, and the like. Yeah, I mumbled. Come on, you don't expect a girl to show you her wares without getting anything in return, do you? Come on, let's see what they have, shall we? The blonde smiled broadly, took my hand, and dragged me behind the salesgirl to the far corner by the fitting rooms. Here's what they have. I think this would be perfect, said the salesgirl, taking a tiny hanger off a rod on the wall and holding it out for us to see. It was little more than a bag with a few ties, barely big enough to hold me, unless of course I was solid, which actually turned out to be the case, given the speed at which I was deflating. Oh, yes, really perfect, said the blonde. I'll tell you what. You take this, go change, and I'll wear this red one. The blonde took my hand and pulled me toward a short aisle that ran between four curtained fitting rooms facing each other, with a large multi-segmented mirror at the end of the aisle. Unless, of course, you want to share a fitting room? I'm not sure that's a good idea, I nervously replied. Well, since we're going to consider each other, then there's no point in closing the curtains, is there? She said as I started to draw the curtain. She held the curtain back with her hand. I suppose not, I replied quietly, letting go of the curtain and letting her pull it all the way back. Besides, I think the salesgirl is just as interested as I am in seeing you in this. Uh-huh. I fidgeted, and she retreated to the fitting room across from me and left the curtain open. She reached to her waist and removed her belt, and then up to undo the ties on her shoulders, letting the dress slide down her body, leaving her in heeled shoes, flesh-colored stockings down to her hips, and a pair of tiny yellow panties. Her full, round breasts sagged a little, but that only seemed to emphasize the way her rock-hard breasts stuck up slightly towards me. "So, are you going to get naked too? Or are you just staring at my breasts?" she said quietly. "Or maybe the salesgirl needs to come to your rescue." "No, I'm pretty sure I can do it myself," I replied, nervously pulling down my polo shirt. The salesgirl was standing near the lacy lingerie rack, where she had a good view of me in the fitting room. I took a deep breath and pulled my pants down, sitting down on the bench to remove my shoes and then pull my pants down my legs, leaving me in my socks and boxers. "Let's go," I said to myself as I pulled my boxers down. The blonde smiled and pulled her yellow panties down. "Are you going to stay like this?" she asked sweetly, looking at me, still standing naked. "Oh, yes," I replied, reaching for my thong. I stepped into them. "It was very nice," the salesgirl cooed from where she stood. The blonde, now dressed in red lace, stepped out into the aisle and reached for my hand. She pulled me out of the fitting room and led me down the aisle to the mirror. "What do you think? Is this the image you want your wife to look like?" she asked sweetly, rubbing her almost completely naked back against my body, not forgetting to wiggle her ass as she pressed herself against me. "I have to admit, she'd look stunning in it," I replied. "How do you like that?" "Oh, God. Do you want me to try on another one?" "I don't know," I answered honestly. "I think it looks pretty spectacular." "Pull the ribbon at the back of my head," she asked, reaching back with her free hand. I reached out and pulled the satin ribbon tied in a bow around her neck from behind, and the front of the red lace fell away, allowing her breasts to dangle lower, reflecting spectacularly in several angles in the mirror. Next, we made love to her. Afterward, I looked up and saw the blonde raise her eyebrows, and I responded with a slight shrug. The blonde took everything off, standing in front of me completely naked before pulling on a pair of lacy panties and a bra that lifted her large breasts up and out, exposing the entire front of each sexy breast. "I'll tell you what. I'll buy you that outfit, but on one condition." "Oh? What's that?" she asked, looking down at me. "You wear this home for him for nothing. You can wear heels again, but you have to come to him looking like this." That could be dangerous. You never know who might see me like this. "I think you like to play dangerously." She smiled at me, leaned in, and gave me a long, wet kiss. "You're in." She walked to her fitting room, picked up her dress and soiled stockings, tossed the stockings to me, and then left in just panties and a shelf bra, carrying her dress and purse in her hands. "Shit!" the saleswoman said as the woman disappeared out the front door. "Looks like I have to pay for what she's wearing and the red outfit," I replied, looking around for my pants. "You know, if you stay a little longer and make love to me, you can get it all for free," she said, stepping over my legs and sitting up, snuggling against my body. "I might have been tempted if I didn't have to go home for my anniversary," I whispered, running my hand up her body and straddling both breasts. "But I have a feeling I might come back and shop here again." "Anytime you want to?" "Any damn time you want." I pulled my face away from her and coaxed her to stand up. I pulled on my shirt and pants, slid into my shoes, and grabbed a little red outfit from another fitting room. The saleswoman looked me over, still completely naked. "Are you sure I can't convince you to stay and sleep with me?" "Not tonight," I whispered, kissing her softly on the cheek. "Maybe next time, though." I walked out and got in my car for the half-hour drive home. I lifted the garage door and pulled inside, getting out of the car, somewhat disheveled, and closing the door behind me. Opening the kitchen door, I walked in and called out to my wife. "Darling, I'm home." "Over here!" I heard her calling from the living room. I walked out of the kitchen into the living room and saw my wife. Her short, brown, curly hair framed an attractive face with a wide smile. "So, did you bring me anything?" "Uh-huh," I said, walking over to her and handing her a bag from the lingerie store. Ooh, more underwear, that's nice. That means I got 2 this year. Uh-huh, I replied, reaching out to cup both of her breasts sticking out above her bra. The sales girl was a pleasant surprise for you, wasn't she? Next time, maybe I should let you make love to her too. She proposed to you, didn't she? Oh, yeah, I agreed with a chuckle. I told her that maybe next time, but truth be told, I want to be here. I held out my hand to my wife. By the way, the blonde wig was a nice touch. Thanks. I'm thinking the same thing. Right now, I really need you to make love to me again. Going home half naked has gotten me all riled up again. I have to remember that, I whispered, tilting my head toward her for a soft, loving kiss. The end!